It is a big idea, a new world order.
Your world is not what it seems. Alex answering. Outside the box.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is October 3rd, 2010, and what a show we have planned for you tonight. Michael Tellinger from South Africa is with us on the phone tonight. He's actually right now on a national tour of the United States, talking about his brand new book, Temples of the African Gods. Michael Tellinger is a regular guest on Coast to Coast. In fact, before we bring Michael on tonight, by the way, he's going to be in Portland next week, I want to go over his bio here. Michael Tellinger has become one of South Africa's best-selling authors. His regular articles on the true human origins and his book, Slave Species of God, has been praised by readers in over 20 countries. Michael is a scientist in the true sense of the word. He graduated from Wits University in 1983 in Johannesburg, South Africa, with a degree in pharmacy, a passion for the cosmos, genetics, and human history. He's worked for Canon Films in Los Angeles as a sound designer and editor, and has written and recorded a multitude of musical projects, screenplays, children's educational books, and TV shows. In 2000, he presented his own weekly show on 567 Cape Talk Radio in Cape Town, exploring technology, science, and astronomy. After 30 years, after a 30-year-long obsession with the origins of humankind and the genetic anomalies of our species, he took some time out to write Slave Species of God. And Michael, go ahead and bring up his graphic for some of his books, which became an instant bestseller in South Africa. And then, of course, it goes on, a very long bio, but there's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about tonight because, of course, he is coming to Portland, Oregon, and it's not too often that we have speakers such as Michael, speakers of the caliber of where Michael is at in terms of the subject matter coming through this town. And so we're going to talk a little bit about his book, but some of the stuff that he's going to be talking about, according to the press release that I'm reading here, is, of course, the origins of humankind, ancient civilizations of southern Africa, and, of course, evidence of the first people some 300,000 years ago. Michael, thanks for coming on.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. Lovely to be talking to you.
Well, I know you've had a very busy day, so you were speaking today with Carrie in San Francisco?
That's right. We just finished about 2 or 2.5 hours ago. Just finished our presentation in San Francisco, in Oakland, and it was absolutely amazing. Unbelievable turnout of people, just so much good energy, and people are just coming out of everywhere to find out about these discoveries that I've been sharing with them in Southern Africa. I'm astounded as to how they're finding out about it, and obviously the word is getting out there.
Well, I hope some people attend your lecture coming up next Sunday, actually 7 days from now in Southwest Portland. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but your book, I'm holding it in my hand, so if you'd like to refer to any particular pages, we can show the audience live tonight exactly what you're referring to, because I have the book here, Temples of the African Gods. Tell us about it.
Well, Alex, Temples of the African Gods, it's really my third book, and in some strange way, it's just we've gone from one sequence to the next sequence to the next sequence, starting with my obsession with the origins of humankind, and realizing that a true story needs to be told, and unravel the murky origins of humankind. Look at the work of Zachariah Sitchin and so forth, and that work in that book, in Slave Species of God, led me to meet Johann Heine in 2006. And Johann then proceeded to show me the many photographs that he's been taking of the stone ruins in southern Africa over a 20-year period, trying to bring it to the attention of the authorities and the archaeologists and so forth, with very little success. And the moment I saw those photographs, I just instinctively knew that we were dealing with something that was somehow connected to the origins of humankind. Well, at that stage, little did I know that this would lead us to what I believe now to be the most startling discoveries, pointing and presenting physical evidence of these earliest humans, physical evidence to support much of the work that's been presented by people like Zechariah Sitchin and others, the monumental amount of work that they've presented about the origins of humankind, the translations of the Sumerian tablets, and these group of beings called the Anunnaki, which seem to be very instrumental in our lives and who we are as a species. And slowly but surely, over a 3-year period of research and discovery in the mountains of South Africa, I found that the stone circles and the circular structures are a lot more than anyone could have imagined, and realized that we stumbled upon what now is proving to be the first civilization on Earth, the first settlement of the humans, the evidence of the ancient gold mines in a very, very spectacularly large format, that more larger than anyone could ever imagine. And here we are now. I'm touring the USA now, 26-stop tour, and sharing these discoveries and this information with the people of the United States. And this is our first step, really.
Something very interesting from your book here that I'm going to read. Cornerstones of Our Beliefs, page 12. There are thousands of religions and belief systems on earth. Many are offshoots from ancient religions and belief systems. Christianity alone has over 20,000 sects that all seem to have a slightly different take on the whole thing. I have identified 3 common denominators that are shared by all people in every civilization on earth as far back as we can push the human envelope of history. They are gold, slavery, and the feathered serpent or winged flying serpent. These are truly fascinating when analyzed in detail and cannot be separated from human history. Michael, bring up some of the slides of the Sumerians. And so what you're talking about, Michael, is something larger than even Zechariah Sitchin, which is one piece of it, but you're looking at South Africa, something that some people haven't necessarily looked at, that are interested in the subject matter, that may already be familiar with Sumeria, Mesopotamia, the area around Egypt. So could you go into some more detail on this common theme here of gold, the winged serpent, and of course slavery?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Those are what I call my holy trinity of common denominators of human history. And it's really spectacular because you can't separate human history from humans' obsession with gold, and especially the gods' obsession with gold. And it's important to recognize that humans got their obsession for gold from the gods of the Sumerian tablets, who are the same gods of the Bible. And this might come as a shock to some people, but you've got to step away from the emotional elements. I'm not for 1 second denouncing any of the important messages and information that we find in the ancient texts, including the Bible. It is filled with advanced knowledge and information, and very important information as a matter of fact. But at the same time, it has been messed with. It has been manipulated by mankind and by malicious humans over an extended period of time for a specific agenda. And what is important to recognize that the word Elohim, the biblical, the Hebrew word for the gods or God in the Bible, Elohim, is a plural. Elohim is a plural, which means the gods. And it's important to, therefore, every time you read the word God in the Bible, to read the word the gods. And suddenly, when you start doing that, you realize that the events that we talk about or that are spoken about in the Bible are the same events that we read in the Sumerian tablets. And that the gods of the Sumerian tablets are the same gods that the Bible refers to. Most of the stories in the Bible are just, edited versions of what we read in the Sumerian tablets in much greater detail. So the whole thing with gold goes back to the Sumerian tablets and the gods who were obsessed with gold. It refers to the Anunnaki in the Sumerian tablets and the Anakim, who I believe the same group of people in the Bible and the Sumerian tablets, the giants, who were obsessed with gold, who came to earth in search of gold. And they found it in great abundance. And where they found that was in southern Africa, or a place called the Abzu. And I'll come back to that later if we I think it's important to discuss the Abzu as a definition in terms, because there's been a lot of disinformation and confusion about this word called the Abzu. What we read in Genesis 2, for example, in the Bible, at which point Adam was still alone on earth. Eve had not yet been fashioned from his rib. And already then God expresses his obsession, or the gods, should we say, express their obsession with gold, the shiny metal. And they talk about the land of Havilah, where the land is good, the water is good, and there is gold, because that is how far back we can trace human origins. Before even Eve was created, the gods were already obsessed with gold. So I hope I proved my point there. Secondly, slavery is a very strange concept, and it's impossible to separate humanity from slavery, just like gold. Mankind has either been enslaved or enslaved others for as long as you can go back in time. And if you step away from it once again and analyze what slavery is all about, it's a very strange practice to a new species, a new group of people on earth who suddenly appeared and then out of the blue start practicing slavery. Not only that, it gets even more mysterious when the biblical gods start to tell you when you can take slaves, how you should treat your slaves, and under which conditions you can punish your slaves, and under which conditions you're entitled to kill your slaves if they behave really, really badly. Now, I have a serious problem with that, and I'm sure many people will too. And then finally, the winged serpent or feathered serpent or the flying serpent, which in many cultures is the creator God who came down from the sky and created the people and gave them all their knowledge and information and taught them everything they knew. And well, until recently, the fascination with the serpent worship and the winged serpent and a lot of ancient activity around serpents, it was believed that was really that was absent from Southern Africa. Well, that is not true. One of the two most sacred sites on earth, as described by the amazing, wonderful, wise man of South Africa, Baba Credo Mutwa, he told me that there are two most sacred sites in the world. One of them is the sacred serpent worship site in northern Botswana, known as Sodilo Hills. And I was recently there to see it for myself, and it's truly a spectacular place. And we squarely find ourselves in the serpent worship scenario in Southern Africa as well.
That's very interesting. Now, it's not like you're saying there isn't an almighty supreme being. You're merely pointing out that the translation of Elohim truly is God's plural. So it's not that you're discounting a loving creator. It's just taking a more in-depth look at our true physical human origins.
Absolutely, and this is what I find fascinating. I've done many presentations to Christian groups and religious groups who find my work very interesting and challenging. And what I find is after my presentation to them, they find themselves quite confused, because some of them expect me to come in there and, fire away and try and denounce God and all that kind of stuff, and I don't do that at all. In fact, I do the opposite. I am probably the strongest Christian that you can find out there, because I truly believe in the Christ consciousness principles as deeply as anyone could possibly believe in those, and so do I in a divine being and a divine creator from which all things emanate. To define that creator is a whole other story, and I think many people are starting to resonate with that as they wake up to the possibility that the heavens and the universe is teeming with life, teeming with advanced beings, advanced extraterrestrials that we know nothing about, who may have been playing God and manipulating us for many, many thousands of years. And that's what all our ancient civilizations, our scriptures and our texts, including the Bible, including the Quran, including everything we've ever read on planet Earth, points directly towards that kind of interference.
Now, there's a couple extra questions that I'm going to ask you that my friend